So we are here and so excited to be talking about this just absolutely awesome new collection. It's a collection that we can get whether we're a member or if you are brand new to doTERRA and you want this to be your enrollment kit, which honestly I think is genius for any household. We all have access to this, and it's called the Cura Collection, and it's really focused heavily on having solutions at your fingertips for the things that are most often coming up in your life and in the life of your family members, right? It's just like being able to go into the bathroom and open your cabinet, and you typically would reach to grab the one thing that you're always grabbing, from Walgreens, and instead you're grabbing something that does not have the level of toxicity, does not have the issues, does not trigger other issues in your body. It's a beautiful collection of solutions. It's the only way I can think of it. I look at this box, which first off, I know I have to laugh. Susan, I know, has a friend too, but can we be real? Don't we just want the box? Obviously I want the products, but I am in love with the way that they have, just imagine being in your house and never having gotten anything from doTERRA before. And you're thinking about how you want all of these natural solutions, all of these natural non-toxic solutions for your family. And you get in the mail this beautiful cabinet filled, in this box format, filled with all of the answers. And it's even organized in this beautiful way. I just think it's awesome. It's genius. I want to go and give big hugs to the marketing team on this one because hit it out of the park. I want the box. Now, my hope is this. Have you guys gotten the boxes from the diffusers lately? The La Luz and the Rome, and oh my gosh, they are the most incredible boxes. My daughter is like making art pieces out of them. They're just gorgeous. I hope this box it looks like it is that nice, like recycled cardboard press board type situation. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I digress. So this is a new enrollment kit, and we were just talking, like Romelia, you were saying, this has moved into becoming your favorite one, right?
Absolutely. It covers everything that anybody could be working on for multiple people in your home, for yourself.
Yeah.
It is an introduction to all those important and key products for each of those systems. And it gives you a taste of everything. And that's what I love about it. You're not just with a diffuser and oils. Not that that's a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing, right? It's a gorgeous thing. But to have this to show me how I can take what I use on a daily basis and to swap it out for something like that, I love it. I love it. It has easily become my favorite collection, hands down.
I totally agree. I feel like I almost wish there was like a little hanger on the back of this box so you could take it and just hang it on the wall.
I bet you can. I bet you can still do that.
You just nail right through the back, right behind that little bag there of your On Guard drops, right?
And I think there's even something on the inside of the panel. Because I think that's what actually highlights the systems where you get their support. And I just think that, again, it's just so brilliant. It's just so well thought out, and it's just beautiful.
Taking all the confusion out and making it just straightforward. Here you go. This is what you normally open the door to see, and now this is what you get, right? And these are the answers. Choose this over that, right? I just think it's amazing. So we're going to talk a little bit about the toxicity aspect first, and then we're going to move into really breaking down more about this collection itself. So we'll go ahead and jump in. So toxins, we did a class on this a while back. I remember doing this where we talked about, well, what is a toxin, right? You hear the word thrown around all the time. It's kind of like, it reminds me of how people are like, oh my God, that's filled with chemicals. Guess what, people? Everything is filled with chemicals. Like everything is chemicals, right? It's about good versus bad, or overload versus tolerable amounts when we're talking about toxins. And toxins are really anything that stresses our body out. And typically what happens is it could be something that's good, typically could become bad if it's used in the wrong way, or if it's overused, right? An overabundance of something can be really problematic. And we have something also that I'm sure you guys are all familiar with called a toxic load. And this is the sum of all of the toxic substances that we're using throughout our day. when you think about it, so often, each product that we use is sort of like within the requirements of what's allowed, the toxicity level of what is allowed, right? So let's say this many parts per million is allowed, and it'll sit right here underneath of it. But when you add up how many of those things you're using per day, you're quickly going to go above and beyond. Is that the responsibility of that company? No, they've stayed within the parameters of what they needed to. But we as consumers need to be aware that we have to be responsible for noting, hey, you know what? I'm getting way too many hormone disruptors in my life. I've got way too many, paraffins or whatever it is, too many things happening, and be responsible for taking charge of that. It's really, really important. So the burden of our body's toxic load matters. That toxic load, right? How much we can handle. It really matters in how we function and whether or not we're feeling strong and healthy. And more importantly, especially lately, I think that what we start to notice, in regular life, it starts to be an issue of an accumulation of health issues, right? And how they can build up and become a problem. But in recent times, it has been an issue of immunity, and really thinking about how our bodies are set up to fight against things. If we're constantly faced with the burden of dealing with processing a toxic load, it's much harder on our bodies to fight all of these sort of infiltrators that are coming along and causing other issues, right, for our health. We have tens of thousands of chemicals that are out there on the market. So I really found this very kind of interesting and terrifying at the same time. And really, it points out the importance of being in charge of your health and wellness, okay? Especially if you're a parent, having an understanding and educating your family on this topic really does matter. So if you read here, it says of 3,000 high volume chemicals used in excess of 1 million pounds per year, only 7% are tested for safety. 7%. I know that we all, I know I did. I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but I honestly thought, and I don't even know that I gave it actual thought, but I thought there was some sort of testing of FDA or some group of people somewhere that were testing everything that was put out on the market to be sold as to whether or not it was safe for me to use. And that turns out to not be true. It's just not true, not in the way we think it is, right? And so that's problematic. And it's just, it speaks to how we need to be in charge of this. If you notice, this is all according to, on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, according to the EWG. That's the Environmental Working Group. Go visit them. It's ewg.org. Harvard University put out a wonderful article, their Harvard Health, in 2016 regarding the importance of, as they say, educated modern women to utilize the EWG as a means to curate and figure out what is safe and what is not safe in their healthcare products and in their beauty products, to figure out exactly what they should and should not be using. I love it because they have everything from candles to cleaning products to deodorant to hair care. They have everything on there, and it rates it based on how safe it is. And it'll even show you why. It's not just like, oh, bad, good. It'll tell you like the breakdown of what chemicals are in there. So if you're if you know that you're sensitive to one particular thing, wow, what a great tool to have, right? But in general, you can start to monitor the intake within your household, how much of too much of something, right? Or if you have concerns about that, go through and check, go in your bathroom. What's great is they have a Think Dirty. It's called Think Dirty. It's an app. And you can go in and you can scan the little, barcode situation on your products and get those ratings and see exactly what and why. Oh, okay, it's because it has too many, artificial fragrances. It's because it has too much of this or that. And you can start to know, you know what? I have a lot of this going on in my household and I need to cut back on that. Now, we're going to give you guys the Cura Collection, which my favorite part of it is it really removes all of that, like, okay, now you're telling me I need to go research this website. I got to download this app. I've got to scan everything in my house. I mean, if you're that person, absolutely. And I think that it's very eye-opening to do because it's hard. You've heard this before. We've all heard this before. We've all have heard how important it is to pay attention to the toxins that are in our household and in our care products and so on and so forth. But until you go and you start picking up stuff that you thought, oh my gosh, when I found out about my Mrs. Myers, oh man, did my little heart shatter into 1,000 little pieces, right? I mean, you know, I scanned it and I was like, oh, this one's going to be good. I know it because I bought it from this amazing website and it's so amazing. Yeah, no, it was horrible. And I was devastated. And for me, that was like a big wake up call, because I realized even the stuff that's packaged to be beautiful and natural and non-toxic is kind of what we all know now as being like greenwashed, right? It's a problem. And so it just, sometimes you have to go through that process, get the app, scan a few things, and then you'll kind of go, okay, now I'm just going to order the damn kit because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to have to deal with all the other research. But, you know, do the research if that works for you. Don't scare yourself, but do it. I really love, you know, who loves this app is my kids. My kids will love it because if we go to a store, if we do something, it's kind of like a game, right? It's like, well, let's check this out. Well, let's check that out, or go around the house. It can be a pain in the butt because sometimes it's something you really, really love. And they're like, Mom, that's got a C- on EWG. And you're just like, zip it, kid. I'm doing the best I can, right? But, you know, check it out and have fun with it. But do use it as a great tool. It's free, by the way. It is totally free and it is absolutely independent. They are based in Canada and they are amazing. Okay, so our bodies are beautiful and amazing in that they are absolutely able to efficiently work through and process what would be considered a normal toxic load. Okay. Unfortunately, since around the time I was born, 1971 and before, probably starting in the 50s, I don't know, I'm going to throw that out there as a possibility. The amount of toxins that have become a norm in the American household are way beyond what even, you know, evolution could handle, as far as like getting us to a place where we can process this much toxicity on the regular. Okay. We've seen an uptick in a lot of different health issues through the past few generations, a lot of which has been tied to levels of toxicity and us trying to find solutions where instead of just focusing on, I don't want to say a cure, but focusing on the symptoms of those problems, we really need to be focusing on prevention and kind of putting ourselves in front of the problem as best we can. We are not able to remove all of them. Okay, so don't overwhelm yourself with that. But we do have a wonderful opportunity to make some great choices in our life that can make a big difference. Okay. Our body becomes less efficient. We already kind of touched on that, right? As we move through and as we are dealing with toxins and how it impacts our life.
I just wanted to point out or have you point out that little
Go back.
scale that they showed on the last one.
Yes.
Because you're trying to move it away from that red zone and more into the green zone, and you can
exactly
keep adding on habits, you know, and new things into your routine, and discarding the toxic ones, adding in the green ones, and just making progress. It's not always going to happen just all at once, but you can incrementally progress into it, right?
Yeah, and it is, I love that about it, because initially you make a couple choices and you start to notice a little bit of a difference, and then I've been on this sort of trying to live a non-toxic lifestyle since I've been an adult, and I'm 50, and I'm still learning and I'm still trying to do better. And I still have a lot of areas where I trip and fall, and I'm learning and I'm doing better. And it's a process. You're absolutely right. And you just do a little bit more and you add, when you know more, when you know better, you do better, right? It is that way. And I love how much, like, our classes, I love how much doTERRA and the education that we get really helps me to weed out what it is that I've been doing. I don't want to say wrong, but the less healthy habits that are maybe a part of my life, and to come up with natural solutions. I hate when things, even these types of classes where you learn all this stuff and you're like, great. But then there's no, well, what's the answer? Give me a solution. Give me some tips for what I need to do. I feel like I love how doTERRA is like, here's a situation, but here's a solution, you know, that's going to work for you. And if we change an ingredient, we're not only going to send you an email, we're going to do a red alert. Your wellness advocate's going to know about it. We're probably going to do a workshop on it, right? There's going to be all this information. It's not going to silently change in the background and cause issues for, you know, people with allergies or people who have other issues. I just like that level of responsibility that's there. And yeah, I like that little meter, Diana, you're right. Little things at a time, right? Little things at a time. So the good news is
just because you're guiding us through that right now, and we can, you know, help. That's just a starting point, getting your Cura kit, and then we can help guide you with that as well.
Absolutely. I love this little drawer. This is, I don't know about you guys, but when I pull open my bathroom drawer, this is exactly what I see. I love it because it's doTERRA and it's clean and it's natural and it's wonderful, but it's also a giant mess. But I like how it's just kind of like, yep, okay. But man, when I compare how if I open my drawer now in my bathroom to even 5 years ago, let's talk about and 5 years ago, I was only shopping, you know, my co-op, natural things, you know, things that I had spent tremendous amount of time researching and working through to make sure I was making a good choice. But even still, it turned out I hadn't really found the best choice for me, right? So protecting our home and family with natural products is huge. And I wanted to share some stories, and other people here who want to. I did include here a little picture of my family, some pictures here that included all of us and my son. I've had issues with toxins for a very long time, or I shouldn't say that, with certain chemicals, right? Certain synthetic chemicals. When I was a kid, I couldn't be around any type of like air freshener at all. I would just start throwing up. Like, to be real, it just made me nauseous to no get out. It would drive my mother crazy because her version of clean was Pine Sol and all of these things. And I would just be so sick from it. She would hide air fresheners in the car because she thought I was just being dramatic. And of course she'd have to be pulling over for me to be sick because I'm like, there's something in the car, you know? But later, in my later teens, I did make the very foolish mistake of trying to clean a bathtub and mixed. I didn't mix. I washed with ammonia, rinsed the tub, and then washed with bleach because the ammonia didn't work, but apparently I didn't rinse it well enough. As you know, that causes a terrible reaction, and it really threw me into a whole different spiral where now even the slightest bit of cleaning chemical smell, my throat closes up, you know, whole 9 yards. I start to have a full reaction to it. So I've always been seeking out natural ways to clean that I could do a good job, and ways to not have any of those things in my home. Right. So for me, that's been a long-term journey. And we talk about that when we talk about things like our natural non-toxic cleaning. Right. But then my first son was born, and, you know, he's awesome. He's in pictures here. You see him with Donald Duck over here. This is the one graduation the poor boy got because his college one was in 2020. And then there they all are sitting on the fence at Disney World a couple years ago, which was awesome. But we have 5 kids, and our first one was born, and he just had a lot of health issues. And it took us a long time to work out what was going on. He has a lot of allergies, and he has a lot of sensitivities to things. The first note that we really picked up on was that he could never take Tylenol. My mother would give Tylenol to her son, who was just a few years older than my son. And, you know, okay, like that's what people did, baby Tylenol. Remember baby Tylenol? I could not give it to him. He would bounce off the walls, but be crying the whole time because it did not give him any relief. And it was almost like he couldn't stay in his own skin. And we really realized, okay, this seems to be working for other people's children, and it does not work for ours. In fact, it has the absolute opposite effect on him. And so we started really having to pay attention to what we used. He couldn't have a soda. One time we went to a birthday party, and somebody gave him a little Dixie cup full of Coca-Cola. And he was up for like 30 hours. I mean, he could not sleep. He was the sugar. I don't know what it was in it. He was bouncing off the walls and it was insane. We were like, okay, never again. He could never have chocolate. He could never have all these things. And then later, of course, we realized that he had gluten-free, he needed to be gluten-free, needed to be dairy-free, he needed to not have certain, lots of different medications, any over-the-counter medications that most people could take for like allergies or a cold or, like, I don't know, coughs, or he couldn't have any of that. It didn't work on him the way it worked on other people. He was very, very sensitive. So we started to have to pay attention to what we used and try to find some natural solutions, from the co-op or places like that. I don't know if you guys have a co-op where you live, but, a natural food store, right? With a natural health section that helped us quite a bit. We also did a lot of homeopathic medications. We tried to work our way through this process and learn as we went. Once we figured out that gluten was an issue, well, guess what? You got to look at shampoo. You got to look at conditioner. You got to look at body lotion, body soaps. You got to look at, because it's in all of these different things. So we really had to start researching everything that came into our house and how and what impact it would have on him. And that led us just continually on this journey that we've been on. And while we made great strides and had wonderful improvements through doing that, it was honestly absolutely exhausting. And the thing that scared me the most was, okay, how is this person who's going to be a 22-year-old or whatever, now he's 24, but back then, what kid is going to spend that much time researching their shampoo when they're living on a college budget and they know that they can pick up Suave or whatever for $1? You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is not realistic. People, I can live this way because I'm a mom who is worried about her son. But let's be real. It's not an easy thing to do. And they're constantly changing ingredients. So when we found doTERRA and figured out that that was going to work across the board for him, it was the greatest thing that ever happened, because we no longer had to spend so much time stressing about it. We didn't have to check every single time we bought a new one. And now he just orders his stuff and it goes to him and we know it's good to go. It's just a wonderful solution to have. As much as we all want to say that we can spend the time doing those things, it's just not realistic. It's one point you're going to be traveling, you're going to be doing something, and somebody's going to need something, and you're just going to buy it and be like, look, what we're doing. I mean, I bet all of us here have done that, right? Even with our doTERRA, at some point you're like, I ran out. What do? We need toothpaste. It's coming in the mail. It's not here yet, right? And so, no, you can't just do that when somebody has allergies. So we really, are so appreciative of having these tools that doTERRA has presented for us, especially the fact that I get to exhale as a mother, and know, look, hon, I've got the answer for you. Here's the solutions. Anything you need, order it from here. Because if they do and make any changes, I'm going to know about it. You're going to know about it. You're going to get that information. So, wow, this slide looks really big. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it looks so giant, but over the counter, resources. So I wanted to spend some time talking about this because this is really what we're talking about in our Cura collection, is kind of replacing the typical over-the-counter medications or over-the-counter solutions, if you will, that we're all just so used to. I mean, I grew up in a world where if you had allergies, you got Benadryl. If you needed to sleep and you got a cold, you used NyQuil, right? If you had a headache or you had your period, you grabbed Motrin. And it's all brand names, right? Because it was almost like they were synonymous with, here's the issue, that's the solution. Like a tissue is a Kleenex, you know what I mean? And it's so, when that happens, it's so hard to possibly imagine that there could be an answer that isn't one of those brand name things that you're so used to. Your mom went and grabbed them from the drugstore. You go and grab them from the drugstore. It's just becomes, in fact, there's zero thought involved. You go from issue to that's what you do without even thinking about it. What's nice though, is that we are able to now, instead of looking at, like, let's say Motrin as a Motrin as a solution, instead of just thinking about that, you can say, well, okay, well, what is it about? I need ibuprofen. Why do I need ibuprofen? What is that? It's an NSAID. And what does that do? It helps reduce inflammation, right? Well, what else do I have that can help reduce inflammation? We can get back to the core problem and find really good solutions. So typically people are going to go ahead and try to relieve issues, because it's easy. You don't have to go to the doctor. You run to the drugstore, boom, you've got the solution in your hand. Most people believe that they're safe. We have people, not somebody who knows somebody who has a cousin, but we have, leaders on our team who have kidney failure due to overuse of over-the-counter solutions, including ibuprofen. And an accident that happens in your 30s that leaves you in chronic pain can lead to kidney failure if you overuse your, NSAIDs as a solution. And those were what the doctors told her to do. It's really not as safe as we like to think. Do a little looking into those things. Most people believe that that's how you create natural solutions in your home, is by having a bathroom or a drawer or whatever filled with these tools or over-the-counter solutions for if something or anything arises, say in the middle of the night, right? Interestingly enough, the first response, the biggest thing is cough remedies, which is really interesting. People, as soon as they know, if anybody gets the slightest cough, the first thing they want to do is stop the cough. And I think I know Romelia, I know Susan here, I know myself here. Coughing is an effective way to help clear out the lungs, right? We don't want people coughing to the point where they're in pain, right? But we want to give relief to that, but it's also really important part of getting well. It's a sign that the body's trying to do its job, right? Hello, Miss Joan. People are popping in. So the top 10 over-the-counter solutions, right, or remedies: upper respiratory issues, oral analgesics, digestive upset, which really could be even one of the number one. It's like 50% of the people who go to the ER. And by the way, thank you so much to Laura Jacobs for these slides on this as part of, she's one of our partner leaders and she's amazing. So these slides through here, I love this, but she was saying recently that with research that she had done, that 50% of people who show up in the ER are showing up due to some portion of digestive health issues. Oh my gosh, can I just tell you, every single thing digestive health in my household, I'm like, it's the DigestZen and it puts out 99% of those fires. It's amazing. So first aid, topical analgesics, sleep aids, skin remedies, insect bites, allergies, and then children's things like, children's version of things. So a children's allergy medicine, a children's cold and flu, children's pain, all of these types of things. So these are the things that most people are reaching for. And that's why it's exciting to have these tools that we're going to present to you guys, right? So this is just talking about why it's important. She says here essential oils, but really why replacing with natural solutions is such a good thing. You're going to have less of a reaction. You're going to have no buildup in the system. You're not going to have people having issues with side effects that can happen. They're far more effective. They work way faster. And honestly, they save a ton of money. If you're someone who has digestive health issues and it doesn't even reach the point where it's prescription level, but you're just using your over-the-counter solutions for digestive health issues, I bet you have a drawer full of tools for that. And I have DigestZen, and so it's just like, okay, wow, wait a minute. I can really deal with constipation and diarrhea with one tool. Yes, I can. I can deal with indigestion or, acid reflux with that same one tool. Yes, I can. And it's absolutely effective instantly and amazing. And my kids, that 24-year-old I was talking about earlier, just not long ago, he had a little bit of like a reflux issue, and he was just like, Mom, I'm having this, and I'm like, here, use some DigestZen, and then I want you to go lay on your left side. And he used the DigestZen, and he's kind of giving me the eyebrow, like, you and your stuff, Mom. And then he went and laid on his left side, and he comes in, Mom, I gotta tell you, I'm not even kidding. I've been feeling like crap for like 4 hours, and I did that, and I'm fine, like it's gone. I'm fine. And I was like, yeah, I know, me and my silly things. And that was just the other day, and he's been using them for years. But so now we're going to talk about these, and I really would love it if anybody jump in on this, guys. So let's talk about that whole cabinet makeover. I'm not even kidding. I'm getting this, and we already use all these things, but I love the idea of hanging this box on the wall next to your other medicine cabinet or drawer or whatever it is, right? So that you can sit there and notice like, oh, I have the answer here. I don't need this other tool. Like if you're a little reluctant to toss everything out, right? I say go for it. Hang it up on the wall. So respiratory tools, okay? In this box, you're going to get a Breathe Vapor listen to me, a Breathe Vapor Stick, which is my go-to for any type of exercise I do. I do have exercise-induced asthma, or just, I don't even know. I feel like one day I'm going to get so healthy that I don't have that anymore, because it does make you feel like you're just like really out of shape, but it really is a thing. But the vapor stick makes it so I can work out way longer. I can actually work out until my legs get tired, which is like, yes, normally I can't do that. I can't, because I can't breathe. My legs never have a chance to get tired, or my abs, or whatever it is I'm doing. So it's a game changer. Romelia, your son, do you guys still use the vapor stick still?
Yes, that's his favorite. He actually has a couple of them up here that I ordered before, I think back in the spring, and just to, give doTERRA props here, he hardly ever used it. The only time this year was when we were in a very humid area, and he was completely out of his element. And this is the first time in, gosh, how long? 3-4 years that he says, by the way, do I still have an albuterol inhaler? I'm like, yeah, somewhere we I think there's one in the van, because I'm pretty sure that I have thrown one in there. We just got to look for it. It might be one of the cubbies, but he didn't need it. The vapor stick provided enough support for him. But that was it. I mean, we've had these just everywhere. It's his go-to. He likes it. I personally like the touch for myself, but this one just kind of has that staying power. And I think that's what he really likes about it, and that it's not greasy and it absorbs really easily. And he just really likes that one. That's been his go-to since we discovered it.
Yeah, I think it's nice because it's easy for anyone to use, and it doesn't have quite the same level of smell, if you will, as the regular Breathe stick or the regular.
I think that has a lot to do with it too, because he's very, sensitive to smells and textures and all kinds of things like that, right? So this works really well for him.
Yeah, I love it. The On Guard throat drops, which are just fantastic. Pop one in your mouth. Kind of think of it like, you sat down on the train next to somebody who's sneezing. You pop one of these guys in your mouth, or you're in an office space or somewhere where somebody's kind of got some cooties crawling on them. This is a great solution, to be able to support you through that. Or even if you're feeling a little bit of a tickle.
Well, and it's good for cough too. That's really soothing. I prefer these for cough than the Breathe respiratory drops.
Oh, really?
I just feel like this has a little bit more support, a little bit more numbing. I don't even know if that's the right word, but
no, it does. You're right. It does, because it has that clove in it. It does. It has the tickle. It removes that tickle that is, causing that. Now, earlier I said you want to cough, but you don't want to be like, there's a line, right? Susan can probably speak to that, but there is a line between productive coughing and just annoying exhaustion with coughing, right? Where it's just like, person does need to rest or sleep or get through a class or a meeting without, their face, look at her, she's coughing right now, without their face turning.
I think that's absolutely true though. I'm one of those people who gets that tickle, and it's not, coughing moves things through our lungs and it's productive. Even if we're not coughing anything up, it's moving fluid, and that's what it's meant to do. If you've got that little tickle in the back of your throat though, that's just making your throat scratchy. It's not helping anything, right? And you just can't stop it. That's me. So the peppermint beadlets are fantastic, or the throat drops, either one can be really great for just taking care of that tickle. And then it's gone. It's not like just while it's there, but it's like the oil actually takes care of that little itchy throat, and then you can talk or not cough in the middle of, silence. Whatever. You're not supposed to be, making a lot of noise.
Coughing like
Really
crazy.
helpful.
Yeah. And sometimes, for kids, they're not I wouldn't say they're not sweet, because there is a slight sweetness to them, right? They're not as intense as using like a drop of On Guard or the On Guard beadlets, right? So for kids, I think they're really helpful. You can throw them in a backpack, throw them in your bag, whatever. They're easy to have on hand at all times, which is true for the beadlets as well, but they're a little bit less intense. So then we have the peppermint beadlets, which are, you know, I feel like I have those kind of sitting around like the chapsticks, you know, like I kind of have those sort of sitting around in all of these different places and purses and in our bathroom, bedside table. My husband loves them. He really is a big peppermint fan. I really do like them for, you notice here it says it's also for digestion. A lot of these things cross over, guys. So, you know, I mean, we're talking about respiratory tools, but these are also immunity, you know, supporting our immune system tools as well. But the digestion, man, these on an airplane or in a car ride, if you're someone who gets nausea, you know, motion sickness, like heaven. Or if you're prone to maybe less than fresh breath, this is a great tool to have. I mean, they're just fantastic. My husband wants them though for the energy and the mind focus. He's a big fan of, you know, he goes here, he sits and listens to a lot of people who voices have zero rise and low, you know, I don't know what's the word, inflection. There's not a lot of excitement in the world of engineering, and it can drone on.
Monotone.
Thank you, very monotone. And so some peppermint every now and again helps him kind of like stay, okay, I'm with you, I'm following you, right? So next is digestive tools. We have the DigestZen soft gels, the TerraZyme, and then the Tamer roller ball here. This just covers, I mean, we have way more digestive health tools, guys, by the way, just like we do on respiratory, but these are like the sort of like, make sure you have these at least in your cabinet, right? The DigestZen soft gels are exactly what it sounds like. They're DigestZen oil in a soft gel. Fantastic for people who have chronic health issues with their digestive tract, people who have a lot of issues with nausea. If you know you're going into a situation, let's say a bus ride, plane ride, car ride, so that's me, yes, the DigestZen. Or if you're getting over a stomach bug, or you need help with getting over a bug, DigestZen soft gels, wonderful. Also people who have GERD, this has been a fantastic tool for just supporting them and keeping sort of those, episodes, if you will, at bay. TerraZyme, fantastic for breaking down foods. Think about, so my son, for instance, who can't do gluten, the reason he can't do gluten is his body just doesn't make, or the ones they do make suck. I don't know what it is, but he can't break down the long chain protein of modern day gluten. It just doesn't work for him. It doesn't happen, and it turns into a toxin in his system, and it makes him really sick. So this, though, if he does accidentally get a hold of some gluten, what used to have him sick for 2 to 3 days, I mean sick like in bed, in pain, sick, is now over within a couple hours. And that's enormous. If you're, I mean, you know, you can't, who can live like that? Yeah, Diana.
Yeah, me too. These are I didn't even, the thing is, it's funny because I didn't even realize that these were a problem until they started to disturb my sleep. And so having that DigestZen soft gels, it stops I would have like a stomach ache all night, like, because my gut health is disturbed and I have gut dysbiosis, and it cannot process everything, and it has overload, it has, you know, of bad things in there. And so I would just hurt, I would just be in pain, and I'd try to sleep through it because I couldn't figure out what was going on with me. And so the DigestZen, I take that every night before bed, and it helps so much. If I have, I do have food sensitivities, I do get, with the gut problems, you'd get like this kind of attack of like a food that disturbs your system, and you have the leaky gut. And so it causes these really weird symptoms that are excruciating, really, they're excruciating, and they just stop you from doing anything. And so because I have Tamer, I could just rub that all up and down, all the way from my throat, even on my temples, just to calm down, and my neck and stuff, the back of my neck, even just to kind of calm everything down, all the way down my, digestive tract on the outside of my body. And that just really cools everything down and allows me to get some respite from that just intense thing that I'm going through. And then of course the TerraZyme, it helps keep me even, because it's helping me process. So I use that for every meal and for at night, because your guts are really working through all of that stuff at night. And if they're going to get stopped up, that's when it's going to happen, because they're just gently working through all that stuff, and trying to break down everything into something useful. And if they're not working properly and they have an imbalance in them, then they're just like sitting there going, I don't know what to do with this stuff. I'm just going to try to ignore it, and then it sits there and it makes you just miserable. So these three are like lifesavers for me, just absolutely lifesavers.
So I want to share, back in April, when I was taking care of my mom-in-law, the surgery that she had and all of those medications that they gave her, it really, really disrupted her digestive system. I mean, to the point that it affected her appetite, and because of that, she wasn't getting, the nutrients that she needed, so she wasn't getting stronger, and it was just a terrible situation. She was very lethargic, but it had to do with her digestive system just completely being compromised and wiped out with everything that she was on. The Digestin, TerraZyme, and Tamer provided her the absolute best support. I think I had her just like about a week taking these, and everything just kind of balanced out for her. And she was like, I can't believe she's sitting here at the dinner table eating with us, rather than I'm going to pass tonight, I don't want breakfast kind of thing. But these two were so key and part of her in her recovery. And we just hooked her up with that and made sure that it's on a regular, shipping for her, so that she can have those along with her protein and her fiber. It has just made a huge improvement for her.
That's fantastic. I love that. Yeah, these have been a game changer for us, and the TerraZyme too. I think. Go ahead, Tammy.
I was just gonna say, know that peppermint is so good for digestion, but the Tamer has spearmint in it.
The spearmint in it,
and spearmint is also excellent for digestion.
Absolutely. It's so good. And it's very gentle. The Tamer is part of what is a line that is known as sort of the kids line, which should just be called like the gentle line, I think, because honestly, for anyone who likes sort of a softer version, that wants, or maybe they have skin sensitivities, whatever it might be, that whole line is a amazing tool. But the Tamer is fantastic because it does all of those wonderful things, but it is based sort of, or the main note you get is spearmint as opposed to peppermint, which is so much softer and appealing to kids and stuff. And before we move on to the next one, I just want to say with TerraZyme, I know we've been talking about it as though it's something for people who have issues. TerraZyme is a tool that honestly should be in everyone's arsenal. You are always going to need a little bit of help with different scenarios. Maybe you overindulge a little bit. Maybe you're eating greasy foods. Maybe you're just not actually absorbing all of the nutrients from your food effectively. The TerraZyme is going to help you with that. It's not just for people who have these issues. It's for absolutely everyone.
It is for everyone, because we have to think about how our food is produced and how it's processed. And a lot of the stuff that we're buying that's really convenient and fast, which we all do, right? Those things lack those natural enzymes. So, our body's going to go into overdrive trying to break this stuff up. And so, yeah, it's good for everybody. anywhere at any time. Look at it as something that, oh gosh, it's just, think of it as a condiment with your food.
Yeah.
Use it like that. And then just add it with your meals. One with your meal, just to kind of support your body through that whole process.
You will notice a difference. You really, really will. I know Tammy's on. If you travel too and like to try different foods while you're traveling, oh, bring your Terrazyme. I'm telling you, protect your stomach and enjoy things, right? Okay, sleep, right? We all love sleep. I will tell you, it is probably the number one thing besides digestion. They kind of go hand in hand, that people will message me and ask me if I have any ideas or solution for. These days, there are a lot of products out there that are about different types of like hormones that you can take or tools that you can take over the counter even to help with sleep that really can become problematic. They can become a crutch, if you will. You don't want to go down those roads, especially with our younger people, because what we really want to do is help the body to find its own way to sleep, right? Its own path towards sleep. And so helping our body to stimulate, if you will, its own versions of the, its own hormones to do that is fantastic. So lavender and serenity soft gels are amazing. Lavender is obviously already known as like the super soothing, restful blend. I will tell you too, if this is sitting in your lovely, bathroom cabinet, you're also going to be using this puppy all the time for skin, and you're going to be using it like crazy for allergies. It is my favorite antihistamine. Yes, it is just fantastic. And then the Serenity soft gels, my husband and Joan are both huge fans of the Serenity soft gels. And I think doesn't Pat take them too, Tammy? You can nod. I know that your audio is kind of, oh, Tammy does. I don't know. She's holding up her hand, but yeah, she does.
Brett does too. Yeah,
Brett
loves them too.
They're amazing. I think they're incredible. Now, here's what's nice is I don't take them all the time. I have had occasion where we were like back in the day, like when we were doing science Olympiad competitions, and it's like my head is whirling and I know I need to sleep because we have to be up in the morning and be at the place and time. And you know what I'm talking about, those times that even the most restful person is not necessarily able to rest. I will take them and they work wonderfully. But my husband loves them. He is just, I've said it a million times, like we will be sitting in bed chatting away, I'm like, and he'll just turn to me and be like, hey, I'm taking my Serenity now, which is his way of like, I will be asleep in 4.5 minutes. And no kidding, he is out. And I don't know, it does not do that to me. It does not do that to me. But I think for him, it's just like he knows, and he's like, oh, click, go into bed. But it's just amazing he loves it. So Joan, I'm gonna bug you to come on mic and share, because you're relatively recent to them, right?
I'm relatively recent to them, probably in the last couple of months, few months, maybe three months, because I started them, I believe, when I got the first month of the sleep kit, and they're in there, and I started taking them with that. And yeah, I just love them. I'm with Tammy, what she said in the chat, right? Every night. I do pretty much take one every night before bed, like with my final round of the things I take right before bed. And I just love it. It's to me, I'm not like Manny. It doesn't just like take me right out, but it's just really soft and gentle. And it feels good, and it doesn't. I think one of the things, you hear a lot, and people will talk to us a lot about sort of all the side effects from taking a lot of over-the-counter sleep aids, even sleep aids that are like natural or herbal or whatever, can really sometimes, right? You wake up and you feel like really groggy, or yeah, you slept, but maybe you didn't get a great quality of sleep because it just knocked you completely out. And so you're not really resting and moving through the sleep cycles that you should be moving throughout the night for really healthy sleep. So I find this to be just a really lovely aid.
Yeah. I will say before Adaptive came out, for my anxiety, I would take a Serenity, you know, before, if I knew I was going into a stressful scenario or a triggering scenario, I would use them that way. I would use the Serenity soft gels as an anxiety emotional support, you know, or, you know what I mean? As well as like Copaiba soft gels, or, you know, with the oils as well, and balance oil too. But it's a great tool if you think of it that way. It calms the mind, it calms the body, it helps our body to calm itself, is what I should say, and it helps our mind to calm itself. It is absolutely zero, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you're not going to become reliant on it. Okay. Yeah. You will not become dependent on it. Like, Manny loves it, but when we don't have it, he's like, but he sleeps still fine. You know, it's not going to become a situation where if you don't, you know, a lot of things, even the natural things, you know, it's great, but if you don't have it, you can't sleep, or you're always having to increase the amount you use in order to get to sleep. This is not that way. So highly recommend. And wow, what a great, I mean, in that lavender in that cabinet too, so many uses. Are you serious with lavender? It's ridiculous. So,
and just another, you know, hands up for Serenity. It's great, great for my kids. Yeah. I have no qualms whatsoever leaving the bottle wherever they can reach it, and if they need it, you know, I don't need them to check in with me. It's just they know where to get it, they know how much they need, and we're done. And I love that. You can't do that with stuff over the counter, from over the counter. You just can't do that.
No, absolutely. Oh gosh, no. Yeah, and it's not dangerous. You know, so you're absolutely right. Safe for kids, and it's not dangerous. I just love it. And I like Tammy saying also, it won't cause you to do any weird sleepwalking or anything else in the middle of the night that, you know, when you're like not completely with it, like something.
For that medicinal hangover in the morning when you're just groggy. I was, yeah. I'm happy that it doesn't happen with these. It makes it cool.
Yeah, it's, and you know, it's interesting because people, well, gosh, we're going to have a lot more talking about sleep, because sleep is just a thing, you know, but boy, oh boy, when you struggle with it, it's a nightmare. It really is. And it impacts all areas of your health and wellness, from emotions to immunity and everything in between. It's a real nightmare. So sleep is huge, and having tools on hand, golly, man, if we had that lavender and that clary calm and that clary sage when I had babies, lordy be. So discomfort tools, I love this, aka it hurts, help. Right? So we have here the Deep Blue 5 ml, which is the deep blue oil itself. We have the Deep Blue polyphenol complex, which is not the deep blue oil in a soft gel the way it was with the Digestin that we were talking about earlier. This is a completely different formulation, and it really kind of does a totally different thing inside the body, right? And then we have our past tense, and I am so in love. I was hesitant, but I'm not going to lie. I love the past tense in the 15 ml so that I can create how strong or how mild I want my rollerball to be. I do still like it in rollerball form because I like to apply it directly to where, and not necessarily have it on my hands where I'm rubbing it in. Does that make sense? But man, I really just love it. So Deep Blue, we're talking all about the pains, right? The aches, the pains, the everything, preventative as well. The Deep Blue Poly, we're talking inflammation. I mean, that's the number one thing with the Deep Blue Poly, and how that impacts everything, from emotions, depression, all the way through ankle pain, you know, hip joint issues, everything in between there. And past tense is famous for its wonderful headache solutions. But let me tell you, the real thing with past tense is all about relieving muscle tension. So if you have a wound of any sort, and you are compensating, in other words, you hurt your knee, and then you notice that your hip is starting to hurt, It's because you're compensating with the way that you're moving and walking. That past tense releases that tension, and it is the most wonderful relief. I have friends who use it on their jawline to stop from grinding their teeth at night. It is obviously amazing for headaches. It works great for growing pains, as you also see with the deep blue oil here. It's just an all-around amazing tool. So anyone, I know we have some past tense and poly fans in the house. So yeah, go ahead, Diana.
So I'll just go from the deep blue to the past tense. So the deep blue oil, I absolutely, I have chronic pain issues, and my back would just seize up. This was in the past, really. I haven't had one of these episodes in a very long time because I can manage my pain so well with these 3 and other things that I do, the lifelong vitality especially, and also the turmeric duo caps. But you know, I can manage my pain so well that I don't remember going through. I would have like several days of being just absolutely laid up, could not bend over, could not, you know, twist, could not reach for this, could not, would hurt myself, would be in massive pain when I was driving the car, just like trying to drive and look, you know, to change lanes and stuff. I was like, you know, like just stiffening up. And so the deep blue is wonderful and super long lasting for that, like for any of that kind of like pain that's about to turn into like a really just like those tight muscle spasms. And that's what I would use it for. That would support me, you know, for hours, for just absolutely hours. And then of course the deep blue polyphenol complex, you know, has worked for me for both that type of inflammatory situation that I was in with my body, and to bringing those levels down, and has been so effective at controlling that it even helped me support myself emotionally and be, you know, feeling at my best as opposed to feeling low emotionally. When, you know, when I stopped taking it, when I didn't have it for a week, I was desperate to get it back because I changed back to some feelings that I had not had in a long time. I almost forgot what they were like until I felt them again. Yeah. And the past tense is amazing. It's like it detoxes. So that, you know, I would get, because of all my chronic stuff and then also emotional stuff and stress, I would get a cluster headache. And that is like a migraine, but then also like a seizing up of all your muscles and everything. And so past tense is the only thing that would stop that from happening or get me out of it, take me out of it in one, you know, in a really short time of doing that. And I just was, you know, like so thankful to have it. Past tense, I didn't like it at first when I first put it on because I could smell the cilantro. But then I realized, oh my gosh, like I don't have that. Like what I would do is I would, to cope with my pain, was I would go through all these things. I would do heat, I would do ice, I would do all of these different, this whole routine and massage and trigger point therapy and this and that and the other. And I would get all the way, you know, through it, and then kind of have like a day where I would just felt like I had been run over by a truck. And I was almost like feverish, kind of like just exhausted, like that achy, you know, feverish is what I mean, you know, and it was all from all the stuff I had to do to kind of get out of all of that. And it was like another recovery day, but I didn't have that with past tense. That helped my body to detox all of that stuff out, the lactic acid out and all of that. And then I would just feel better, and I didn't have to recover from feeling better.
Well, I think that speaks to our oils, right? Because you choose an oil like lavender because you want to relax. You want to take some time to maybe make a, you know, a lavender salt bath. You want to diffuse it. You have that just that need at that time for that oil. But when you look at lavender, we pointed out already that it's good for skin, right? But
Yeah.
it's also an antihistamine. It's also a great healer. It's also great for hair growth. It's also great for emotions. It's that's the same thing with past tense, right? I hated it too because in the beginning, because of the cilantro, I just felt like it was an industrial smell. But when I experienced the result,
Wow.
I mean, no, seriously, I felt like
Interesting. I have never got that.
I
Yeah.
smelled like I just
Like
walked into a factory and they're making something with, I don't know. It was just,
cilantro. It's because some people process cilantro differently. See, I'm like, oh,
Well,
it's like pozole.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's a factory.
No, it was very industrial. But after, I tried it, and the only reason I got it was because I got it for free. And I'm like, well, I got it for free. I should try it. Everybody's saying that this is a good thing. And holy cow, and it was so good. And I still have my very first roller. I mean, I've replenished it a few times, but I keep it just because, that just reminds me, don't ever close yourself off to something that could be good for you, and so that's what I think when I see this. But I mean, like for Deep Blue too, we use it, we think of pain, but that has a great emotional support too, the oil. So I just like that, even though these things, these tools that we have in this kit, they're given to us in such a way that it makes it easy for us to use for those, particular areas where we need that support, but they are so versatile and they offer so much more than beyond that box. So keep your minds open to different kinds of solutions. And really, you're going to reach for what you have, right? So, you might be reaching for that deep blue for the headache instead of the past tense, or you might be reaching for the lavender for, a sunburn, or whatever, those kind of things. It's just, I just love how we can use our oils for something else. You buy it for one thing, and then somewhere down the road, you use it for 5 or 6 different things.
Well, and it is absolutely like this selection, and the way that this is put together and kind of curated into this cabinet for you is to kind of deal with the like one-to-one ratio. Like, okay, you're having an inflammation issue. Here's your answer: deep blue polyphenol, right? However, the more you educate and learn as your experience and your journey continues, you find out, oh, it turns out this also does this, and this. So this cabinet that you're getting in this collection initially answers the obvious, but you will find that it's one of those things that it's going to just continue to grow and expand its tools for you. It's like unlocking a Pandora's box of tools, right? Where everything's going to just open up, and it is so cool. I mean, the past tense, like I said, was always for headaches. I had no idea until I had a chiropractor here in town who's actually a part of Tammy's team. She's wonderful, but I, at the time was like, whatever. I've had a shoulder issue for years, and I had past tense. I never knew that I could use it on my shoulder. I thought you used it on your head. I thought it was for headaches, tension headaches. I was just like cursing out loud in the car leaving there, thinking I've had this in my house this whole time, and I've been in this much pain. I can't sleep at night because you know what I mean? And I had this answer. It's amazing how it opens up for you. You unlock all of, and that's through education, right? It's through all the education. So anyway, does anyone have anything else to add to this discomfort? I love the discomfort tools. Okay. In, right? Well, hello, let's go grab that lavender and bring him over here, right? But I'm not gonna lie, we are a little bit addicted to CorrectX in my household. We need like a program. Not really though, because it's so useful. I mean, look, it's by no plan, it's right here on my desk, right? I mean, every boo-boo ever gets CorrectX. Any chapped, chafed, dry.
Yep, I was about to say chapped lips. Wonderful for chapped lips.
Gets CorrectX. Chafed thighs get CorrectX, I mean, I use it. I totally use it around my eyes. It is I don't put it in my eye. Don't be all dumb. But around my eyes, on all of that tender eye skin, it's one of my favorite tools for that. It's fantastic. You just can't get enough of it. Think of it this way. Think of it as your non-toxic, non-petroleum, far more effective. Look it up. I'm not even kidding. What's the stuff called? Neosporin, right? You're replacing that here. And I cannot say enough about it. Gosh, I want to shrink my children and push them down so that I can put this back on their knees again. Like, think of all the times your kids got hurt and you didn't have this. I'm like, oh, my kids have scars they didn't need to have, people. You know, because I didn't have Correct-X. It's amazing. And frankincense, which, by the way, how do we possibly have a collection in doTERRA without giving you some frankincense? Hello. Great for skin, moisturizing, rejuvenating, as it says on here. For me, though, this is 100% like the everything must have tool. I use it under my tongue every single day. I recently had my second of my I don't know, jab, if you will, you know, and got a headache, nothing bad, but still got a headache. I don't get headaches. So for me, it was traumatic, right? Because if you don't get them, you're like, whoa, you know, and I was like, oh yeah, little frankincense under my tongue, gone, you know, it's just an amazing tool. So what do you guys have on? I mean, come on, couldn't we do a whole hour on Correct-X, right?
Yes, it's true. I have them. So I have multiple Correct-X. I'm like you, right? I have, it's in my bag. There's one in the kitchen. There's one in the bathroom. There's one in my nightstand, because it's a constant go-to for me for any sort of super dry, chapped area. Like you said, I use it on my lips all the time. Lips at overnight on your lips is really, really nice. And I will tell you also, you know, because it all works well together. So I'll put like a layer of Correct-X on and then the herbal lip balm on top of it. And it just kind of helps to like really seal it in and push it in there. Yeah. So use them together is really nice. You can get on this. Yeah. And like cracked heels and little corns and things like that. I mean, it's just like everywhere. I think. Cuticles. Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, cuticles.
You get like a little hangnail cuticle situation. Like
well, that stuff is so loved in my home that I am not very well liked right now because we don't have any. What happened to the last two? I mean, this happens all the time. I'm constantly buying this and it's constantly disappearing. So it really is not my fault. Really isn't.
I had that problem
just
too.
last night. Matthew says, where's that Correct-X? I don't know. I just bought some. Where did it go? Where did it disappear to?
Put a little bell on it. No, you know what you need to do? Do like the bathroom key where you like do like a hook to it that's attached to like a giant embarrassing board where it's like whoever is using the Correct-X, it knows that like, you know, you've got the horrible, attach it to a Barbie doll head or something that makes them realize like, I've got the correct, because that's our problem.
Shoot, my little Rudy boy might swallow that.
Oh, okay. Well, don't do that. Hey, you know, I will say, as far as dogs go too, this is not dangerous. We use it on our dogs all the time.
Yes.
And one of mine recently, since we've been home, she bit the tube like here. It was a brand new one too, and some like squirted out. Yep, she just walked away. And, you know, I found it, but there was no reason for me to be worried about her. She didn't eat it. You know what I mean? She bit it and was like, ooh, that tastes funny, and walked away. But normally if a dog bit into a tube of some sort of drugstore medication, I'd be freaking out. Like, what was in it? Who do I call? What do I do? It was kind of like, learn your lesson, didn't you? And now we're all using it by squeezing it and having it come out the dog bite hole because I'm not wasting my Correct-X, right? Because it's so good. But really the big winner here, believe it or not, is that frankincense, right? Getting a 5 ml bottle of frankincense in this collection is just fantastic. Yes, it absolutely. Tammy's pointing out too in the chat. Sorry, her audio is not working so well as she's traveling. That Correct-X is absolutely safe for animals. It's amazing. But frankincense has limitless uses. It is the sort of when in doubt, go with Frank. You know, we just use this constantly. It is amazing for pain. It's amazing for skin. It's incredible for inflammation, for brain health. It is off the hook awesome, to use like a weird old out of date saying, but nonetheless, it's just an incredible tool to have. And we wouldn't be doing you right if we didn't include it in this collection. Talk about being able to do an hour. You could go to town on frankincense, right? So I do want to point out to you that we do have a wonderful handout that we can send your way. So in the notes section of this video, or if maybe you're listening, I don't know if we're going to put this on podcast, but if we do, in the notes section, the contact information for those here tonight will be available to you. That is Miss Diana Webb, Miss Romelia Rodriguez Walters, Miss Joan Sberro, Miss Tammy Lane, and Miss Susan Velazquez, and me, Kari Barrera. And reach out to any of us via email, and we will get you one of these awesome bathroom cabinet makeover. It's like a little PDF that just kind of outlines this info, so you have it and you can look it over and kind of answer your questions and see what you think. You know, it's a fantastic tool to have. I love these little handouts, right? It kind of just helps you to kind of, I don't know, I like to sit, I want to hold something. You know, I'm still that gal who wants to like hold something in my hand and make little notes in the margins, right? And then what's next is the deeper dive. And so we have incredible continuing ed classes that we offer as a part of our group. So once you have your amazing Cura collection, you're going to get to have a wellness consult with your wellness advocate, where they're going to help you with just sort of saying, okay, well, what is it again I use the polyphenol for? Okay, this is what. So put a note on your ibuprofen that, hey, try the deep blue instead, right? So we're going to help you with that transition. We might come over and nail a hole in your wall and hang it. No, I'm just kidding. But I really want to do that. But nonetheless, we're here to help you. And then we offer constant continuing ed classes of all sorts to help you with that. I do want to say that collection that you just saw, to completely make over your whole bathroom cabinet, right, is $249, which I know, okay, gasp, right? However, go open up your current bathroom cabinet and add up the prices of all of that stuff, and then go on to an environmental working group and look at the toxins and the toxic load that you are bringing into your household with those products. And then you tell me, because you're going to, I bet you anything, you're going to realize that you're saving hundreds of dollars and reducing your toxic load. Right?
Go and open that drawer of something that you bought that didn't work the way that you wanted to. So you tossed it in there, and then you went back to the store to go get something else that didn't work for you quite the way you wanted to, and then you went back again. You know, that happens. How many different types of those products? I can't even tell you, you know, with the allergy stuff and with the respiratory stuff, because that was our life. And to have just these little baskets, you know, those little, I don't know, dollar store baskets, right? One of them was just full with allergy stuff. Another one was full of cough stuff, you know, and just, it's just ridiculous because it didn't work the way that we wanted it to. So include that too. Make sure you include those things too.
You have to include those too, because that's the reality, right? And then here's the beauty. I love this. For those of us who already are members, right? And we do LRP, for instance, when I order on LRP, when I order my Cura collection on LRP, it has a 200 PV value, right? I'm going to get $60 back the next month to order other stuff with, because I get 30% back, right, on points. So not only am I getting in a savings because I'm ordering it as the collection, but then following month, I'm going to have 60 points to use in my account, which I just think is freaking awesome, right? I mean, let's be real. And there's a variety, you know, leading up to that 30. The only reason I have 30 is because I'm loyal. I've stuck with my loyalty rewards program, and I did it for a year, and now I got 30, and I love it. I mean, because why would I, you know, besides the wellness kits that we have, which we'll do another workshop on soon, it's the same thing. It's just the value is huge. I did want to add, and I forgot to do a slide for this, but when you get the Cura collection, you can do add-ons as well. And that is really a game changer for when you're new. The number one add-on I would recommend, and I think everyone here nod your head if the faces are up on the board. I'm not sure. I don't think they are on YouTube, but say something, but would be the lifelong vitality, right? I mean, got to do it.
Yes.
Totally. Absolutely.
It's if you want to replace that whole cabinet of, you know what I mean, and you really want to get rid of toxins and you really want to change the trajectory of your health and wellness, which, oh my God, I've only been doing this 4 years and I have seen people's lives literally go from like here to like veering a far 90-degree angle, you know, their health and wellness. I mean, it constantly blows my mind. It's amazing. So that LLV though, key. I swear it makes you, it brings your potential out, if you will. You know, it helps you to just feel strong and get strong and get moving. It's just incredible. So that's
There's another point that was added in our chat about this collection for new members who, you know, are ready to transform the way that they are taking care of their health and their family. You get a free wholesale account with this. You don't have to pay an additional fee for that. So that's another savings of $35. And doTERRA is going to hook you up with an additional $50 doTERRA dollars. And it's not like something you have to wait for. This is going to come like immediately after. It's like within days, so that you can continue, you know, all right, so I didn't get it when I signed up, but I'm going to go get it now. So yeah, that's another $50. I mean, so it's an amazing kit. It's an amazing savings. It really has become, just in this short period of time, just my absolute favorite. Absolute favorite.
And that $35 membership fee is waived forever. Okay. Meaning if you ordered this kit in August or September, the $50 is good for July 2021 only. But otherwise, I mean, to tell you, getting that additional $35 savings is huge. You're making over, you're just taking this amazing step, guys, into changes that you're just going to be so excited about. When you see the results, you're just going to be so excited about them. So thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. I don't think I have anything else. Nope, it's white. And I hope that you'll come out to some of our other classes and workshops. Reach out to get that free PDF. We're happy to send that your way. But thank you, and enjoy your Cura collection, because I think I agree with you, Romelia. I think it's like, it just removes all of the intimidation, and it makes it so accessible, and it allows people to bring it into their home and put it to work immediately. And I love that. I love that. Huge changes in one box. It's awesome. So thank you all so much. I'm going to say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.